Good morning, Year 5, and welcome to your first SPAG lesson of the week. Now, this week in our spellings, we are moving away from homophones and we're having a look at some targeted spellings from the Year 5 and 6 spelling word list. We're continuing to look at parenthesis. This time we're looking at demarcating it using commas instead of brackets or dashes. But first of all, as always, here is your word of the day. Your word of the day today is sympathetic. If you're sympathetic to someone who's in a bad situation, you're kind to them and show them that you understand their feelings. And our example sentence there is Alice was an extremely sympathetic friend. You could also use supportive and comforting as synonyms. Antonym, if you add the prefix un to it, then it becomes the opposite, so unsympathetic. And if you wanted to turn it into an adverb and say he sympathetically patted her on the back, then you can add ALLY to the end of it. So can you have a go at using the word sympathetic or sympathetically in a sentence for me? Use the scaffold that I've put for you on Teams so that you've got all of that information in front of you. And then when you've done that, come back to me and we will have a look at what our focus words are for today. Okay, so like I said, we're looking at our next batch of words from the Year 5 and 6 spelling list, and they are words beginning with the letter D this week. So we've got determined, disastrous, desperate, develop, dictionary, and definite. So I'll show you some ways that you can split those words up into their syllables, which might help, and then I'll introduce what your activity is going to be today. So for determined, we've got determined. We've got to remember here that the ed just makes the sound on the end, so it's mind, not mind, determined. But do remember it's a verb, so it's an ed on the end. Disastrous, desperate, develop, dictionary, and definite. I think that's all of them. Yeah. So again, remember that makes an ut sound on the end, not an ite sound. So your job for today is something called a spelling pyramid. So let me show you. You've got one of these for each of those 6 words, and to show you an example of it, basically it just means that you start to develop understanding those rules and getting a feeling of what the words feel like as you write them, by just adding a letter each time. Now, it does come up as saying that some of it's spelled wrong because obviously BECAU is not a word, but you've got one of those for each of those 6. If you want to do it on PowerPoint, you can. With spellings, I find it sometimes it's quite helpful to actually write them out as well. But those are your 6 focus words for this week, and we will be doing this today, then a dictation at some point, and you will have an opportunity to use those words in your own sentence. But good luck with them, and hopefully you will gain something from doing the spelling pyramids.